They're a little off the beaten path.
Yeah, we've got an Esper Control and a Jeskai Burn.
We didn't see either of these decks in the top 8 this weekend, and I don't believe either of them could reasonably play Smuggler's Copter.
Well,
What?
you'd think that
So a thing in the ice can't crew a Smuggler's Copter.
that is correct, but a Shambling Vents can,
A Shambling Vents can.
and a Night Token from Gideon can,
Okay.
and a Zombie from Nissa can.
Well, you've just named 3 things I've just never
Or Zombie
considered.
from Liliana, sorry. Not Nissa. Nissa doesn't make zombies.
Maybe if she becomes corrupted.
That's true. One day. Reflector Mage crewing a copter is pretty good. Get
Oh,
some
wow.
value out of your idiot that doesn't actually do anything now the Galactic Company's out of the format.
Card still does plenty.
I disagree. I think if you're playing Reflector Mage, you're doing something wrong. Personal opinion.
Alright. Makes me want to play some Reflector Mages
Yeah.
next Friday.
Do it.
Just some lands and some passing here. 2 fast lands for Terrance. An Evolving Wilds and a fast land for Brice.
Oh, we're anticipating. What are we going to anticipate here? Oh, the old anticipate into anticipate.
Yeah, it looks like. So you get one of these.
He's already got an Avacyn. He's got 2 land.
Yeah, you probably take the anticipate.
Oh no, he's taking the land. He is starved for mana.
Hungry. No, he took the Avacyn.
No, he already had 1 Avacyn.
I'm telling you, man. I think he took the Avacyn.
Does he have 2 Avacyns in hand?
I think so.
Alright. Well, we'll see who's right and who's wrong here in a minute.
Right. And if I know one thing, John Douglas is gonna be wrong, which he hates.
Untapped fast land. 2 or less other.
Other. Yep. It says other. The word other, Terrance. Sweet. Terrance is pleasantly surprised.
Alright, here we go. It looks like Brice has added a Spell Queller to his grip, which is pretty solid in this matchup, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So if you know, I mean, the amount of red mana Terrance has available, you have to know removal is available to him. How do you play a spell queller? Do you have to end the stack with it?
I would play a Spell Queller when my opponent is at 2 or fewer cards in hand.
Okay. Or I guess if you have the opportunity to protect it.
Yeah, I would grab this Nahiri in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. So he's tapped out here. You're gonna get to untap, and now you're protecting your spell queller.
Get an attack for 2.
Yeah, man. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a spell queller.
Nahiri's world, at least.
Yeah.
Dovin Bond.
Dovin Bond. Let's. Can we get that pulled up for us so we can find out all the things that guy does?
It does everything that every Planeswalker ever has done.
Is that in the flavor?
No. But it's +1 does the Jace / Liliana / other Jace /
Okay. Does the protect
Typical.
itself by making it something smaller?
right.
Gains-
-1 is draw a card.
Gain 2 life, draw a card. So he gets a Johnny and Jace there.
And the ultimate is something that doesn't matter. So it's every Planeswalker ever.
Fantastic. So make a guy smaller, draw a card, or an irrelevant big thing happens to the board.
Exactly.
Seeing this Mr. Bond he went shields down on his spell queller, and
He might not be a deck that has a lot of shields.
I can't imagine playing spell queller without shields. I want rattle chains. I want Selfless Spirit. I want.
Sure. I mean, this isn't a spirit deck. This is just control.
Listen, Rattle Chains is a great control card.
I. Oh wow, we're sliding cards under the table. Big
Uh-oh.
cheese.
Uh-oh. Alright, so we got the world's most expensive duress.
Sometimes that's got to be good enough.
Will you spread those out for us a little bit? So we got Gearhulk, another Nahiri.
And a 6-mana Chandra.
Is that the big Chandra?
That's big Chandra.
I keep forgetting that we have these additional planeswalkers in the format.
This is Chandra Flamecaller, not like 6-mana Chandra from the pre-con.
I know, but like Chandra, what? Chandra Flame? Oh, the one from Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's an additional 6-mana Chandra in the format, right?
Right. Chandra Pyrogenius, I believe is the name.
Man.
It's not very good.
Well, that's good. That way we don't have to buy some pre-con to acquire this card to play in Standard.
Absolutely.
If you did need cards, GameSwap Mason has a full selection. Get here a little before the tournament, submit a list. They pull them for you, price them for you.
They will do all of these things.
Great place to come buy your cards.
See what Terrance has. If this is a land, I like running this Chandra out there and just going to town.
Go nuts, right into the negate.
Yeah. If it's not a land, I'm pitching and trying to find a land with Nahiri.
Yeah.
It's a land.
I mean, you gotta assume to here you can get you an Emrakul. Yup. We're going nuts.
Just Nahiri with Gear Hulks is plenty good. I don't think you need an Emrakul.
Alright. Let her find a Gearhulk. If I had a Nahiri in my deck, any number of Nahiris, I would put one Emrakul in.
Okay. I don't know that I'd be that aggressive with it, but
Well, you can't put half of one in.
sure.
I'd want to put like point.
0.
I'd want to put the minimum number, but I
So,
want the option.
0.4.
Yeah, but they don't let you do that.
No. One day.
One day you can put in like a card that represents a card, but you
Right.
can always use it as a land.
I'm down with that. All right. Brice is looking down two very strong planeswalkers. One about ready to alt.
Yeah, this just can't feel good. He's missed his 5th land drop twice now.
He's got to ruin his path. Here he's going to go down. That Chandra is still on board.
Yep,
And
he's gonna
Chandra does not mess around.
take 6 more right to the kisser.
He could take 10 here if Terrance wanted to.
We're gonna fire up Ephemeral and bash in.
Yeah, leave him dead. Planeswalker on board.
Yeah, I think he's dead on board anyway because he's got Gearhulk in hand.
Sure.
And a turn flash in the Gearhulk, Fiery Temper you. Attack with the Gearhulk and some tokens. So now all he has to have is a oh, he doesn't even have to have anything. He's got the Fumarole.
He's got the Fumarole, and we're
Right.
scooping it up going into game 2. So you see this Jeskai burn in quotations. It's not even on there anymore. So we're just calling it the Jeskai, which is fair.
The Jeskai. Jeskai, it's control deck.
Yeah. So you see this. You're playing Esper. What do you want to bring in? Clearly, you've already got Ruinous Path in the main because he played 2 of them.
Negate's probably fantastic.
I would imagine Negate's very good.
And I guess your Fragmentizes that you have for your Smuggler's Copters are fine.
What are we fragmentizing here?
Gearhulk is an artifact creature.
Oh.
Oh, it costs 6 though. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I do that on the regular when I'm building decks. Like I'll gather a search and be, oh yeah, I'm gonna put this card in, and then I'll read the card. That card doesn't do what I think it does. I'm fantastic at Magic the Gathering. Um, yeah, I think you have to bring in negate. Uh, Finish off your ruinous paths.
I think he kept a pretty suspect hand, honestly. Um,
I think not taking the land off the anticipate might have been a mistake. How do you like the new mana leak rebuttal?
I don't,
Okay,
but only because most decks are so low to the ground right now,
right,
and you can't counter a copter with it.
right.
So what are you doing with your life?
No, sure, I concur. I'm just, I'm throwing out possibilities here.
Sure.
The cards I don't think you want are like you can probably take out your Declaration in Stones.
Mhm.
You can probably take out your any kind of black removal.
So assuming you have fumigates, are those coming in, going out,
Out,
out? No
out,
fumigates.
no fumigates. The card I do want is the three mana Vindicate.
Anguish Unmaking.
Anguished Unmaking. Why can't I do that?
I think he had one in his hand at the
I
end.
can picture the cards in my head, but the type line is blank. Oh man, does he have his sideboard and the little package that sleeves come in?
I think so.
How cool is that? It's like a little bunker, little case for my sideboard.
So from the other end of the perspective, or the other end of the spectrum here, we've got Jeskai. You just won. You saw a little of your opponent's deck. You know he has Spell Quellers, Black Removal, Dovin Bond. You can assume he's got like the general Esper suite at that point.
Right.
What do you want to bring in?
I would love to sideboard in like 2 lands.
2 lands.
Like they're obviously not in sideboard, but like I think hitting every land drop would be fantastic
Sure.
as the Jeskai deck because you're definitely the aggressor,
Right.
and so you want to overcome by playing more spells than they can in a turn.
Okay, so how does having more lands help you play more spells?
Well, if you hit more land drops, then you can pay more mana.
But you draw fewer spells.
But you'll never be able to empty your hand in one turn. You need more lands to do that.
Okay. So you want to just go completely hellbent.
In one turn. I want to go from like 6 cards, play like a bunch of instants and, Gear Hulks at the end of his turn, untap and play more stuff. Like untap and then play all my Planeswalkers and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Especially when you have a big guy like Gear Hulk. Like at the end of their turn 3, if you fire a Fiery Temper at them, and they're just like, okay, I'll take 3, let it resolve. On your turn 6, when you cast Gear Hulk, they're like, oh man, I'm either gonna take 3 or I'm gonna counter this Gear Hulk. They counter Gear Hulk, you get to untap, play like a Chandra maybe,
Sure.
something like that. Like that's the kind of sequencing that you want to have happen as this Jeskai deck. And I think getting to 6 mana on turn 6 pretty critical.
So the Esper player just fetched. I did see that he left Reflector Mage in,
Okay.
which is more than a little embarrassing in my opinion.
It's a questionable line. Maybe he thinks Terrance, has a transformational sideboard of 15 creatures.
Sure.
In which case, that Reflector Mage would be fantastic.
Just bringing in like the Bomat Couriers going full aggro.
Holy smokes! Can you imagine Bomat Courier aggro with like just Venduring Gearhulk backup?
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Or what Gearhulk is that one?
Torrential?
Torrential.
It's the blue one.
Right, the blue one. The old blue one. Here goes. We got 3 untapped lands.
We have all these lands that come into play untapped early, and we're just
Liliana,
playing 3 drops.
last hope.
Oh, I see. Terrance doesn't have blue mana.
Yeah, I think this Liliana might just go to town.
It's certainly going somewhere.
This could be humongous. If he gets the ultimate this Liliana, is that a lost legacy?
That's a lost legacy. All right, we're gonna have a little discussion when this card gets cast.
I mean, if he gear hulks, that's huge.
How's that huge? He's got like 1 million planeswalkers in his deck. He doesn't need the Gearhulks to win. And if he names Torrential Gearhulk, Terrance has 2 Torrential Gearhulks in his hand that he can't cast. He just gets to cycle those for free.
Well, Brice is the one on deep on planeswalkers this game.
Absolutely.
Terrance.
In the tank here,
In the tank.
I think he's thinking about whether he wants to burn one of these planeswalkers or discard.
You almost 100% burn the planeswalker. Yep, here it comes.
Which one are you taking down?
The Liliana has to be the one you're interested in.
Sure.
If that card ultimates, I've been told under good authority, ultimating that card will win you the game 99% of the time.
So if you get the Dovin Bond, that's 3 cards that he can't draw, basically.
Yeah, I just think you have to try and kill Liliana.
That makes sense.
John Finkel told me that, by the way. I got to play against John Finkel at a Grand Prix, and I didn't ultimate my Liliana against him. He told me why I was wrong after the match. Nice guy. I'm not even facetious. Like, he's actually like a very nice human being.
All right.
All right, Lost Legacy. Tell us about it, John.
So this is not a great card.
What did he name?
I don't know. Let's bring up on the screen what he named. Nahiri.
Oh, you can name planeswalkers?
Yeah, it's non-land, non-artifact. So he couldn't name Gearhulk to begin with.
2? 3 planeswalkers.
So here's the issue with this card.
Where's the 4th pale-faced lady?
And the previous card that it's replacing, Infinite Obliteration, is that...
And every card like it, all the way back
Sure.
to Cranial Extraction.
So you can't... You get card parity if you hit 1 in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
You get card advantage if you hit 2 in their hand, but that's very unlikely. It's decent if they're playing a control deck and they rely exclusively on these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a combo deck and you take a combo piece and they're just completely dead as a result.
What about a ramp deck
So
that maybe only has 3 or 4?
So what you would do when you played against the ramp decks, when you played like these Abzan decks and things like that.
Because they played Infinite Obliteration against that deck.
Right, you play Infinite Obliteration and take out their World Breakers.
Uh-huh.
Because that's the only way you could win. Like, you were such a dog that was like your one shot. And even then, like, you weren't happy about it. You might run like 1, maybe 2. But in that format, people were playing it and naming Siege Rhinos, which just
Boggles the mind.
boggles the mind. And now that we come across this Lost Legacy, which is great because it's 3 mana and it can name non-creature stuff as well for Modern.
Mm-hmm.
But in Standard, even if you hit the card where you would normally have card parity, they get a draw. So it's just straight card disadvantage. And if they're not relying on that one card, you've done nothing, basically. You spent 3 mana to do nothing. In this case, you took Nahiri's out of his deck, so he's more likely to draw land, which he needs. Nahiri's a good card, but it's not his only route to victory. So we have 4 mana now. Still no blue. Lots of blue cards in hand. I think we do have another burn spell. Kind of surprised to not see it take this Liliana down.
Yeah, if you're going to commit the first burn spell to killing Liliana, you have to be willing to put the second one just in on it, too.
Yeah.
Um,
It's dancing in his hand.
yeah.
He's feeling it.
I wonder if he realizes that if he lets him get to the main phase, he's never going to take this Liliana down. Because once they pay that cost, the counter is on there.
Right.
Adding the counter, subtracting the counter is part of the cost. You don't get to respond to costs.
4 to the Dovin. Okay.
Huh. Alright. I guess we're going to spread it out a little bit.
Well, we know he's got a Goblin Dark Dwellers in hand as well.
Holy smokes.
We're just adding Planeswalkers to the board here.
Yep. Terrance needs to play a land, and not the one we were looking for.
Man, he had a negate in hand. Alright.
Yeah, you don't come back from this. From 3 planeswalkers on the board.
4 Planeswalkers.
4 planeswalkers on board now.
Just playing all the Planeswalkers. The full-on dirtliness. People love it.
Oh yeah.
Let's just keep it going.
Yeah, this is the best. Some people just, this is magic to them. Just the way Richard Garfield intended it. Just tons of planeswalkers. We need Wrath of Nicole Ball us to
So now that he's
destroy all
got the
planeswalkers.
blue, he needs another blue, obviously. But we can kill this Dovin Bond.
No, you have to.
There's no good option. Like, you have to kill something.
Yeah, you gotta kill Dovinbon. It's gonna die. Oh yeah.
No, we're just skipping it up.
We're
So
just
he had the
skipping it.
double Torrential Gearhulk, so he could have killed the Dovin Bond with Goblin Dark Dwellers, force the Obnixilis to go down. The other two would still go up. And then if you draw the blue, you can Torrential Gearhulk, kill one of the other ones, probably the Obnixilis at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Then swing in.
They're discussing the new randomization rule. So pile shuffling doesn't actually shuffle your deck.
Right.
And you can ask somebody who's smarter at math than I am to explain that. You almost minored in math. Can you explain that? Do you have the stats knowledge to do that?
I know that it doesn't, and I can tell you that it doesn't randomize it because of the way that you're piling the cards.
Right.
But I can't go into great detail about it.
Anyway, you're allowed to do that once per randomization now.
Right, to count your deck.
If you want to see the reason this exists, look up Conley Wood's Worlds match from 2011, I believe. He was playing the Artifact aggro deck with Glinthawk to bounce Mox Opal when those cards were in Standard.
Right.
And his opponent was playing some sort of I think it was just Titans. It was just Primeval and Inferno Titan and Ramp. But this guy literally shuffled for 5 minutes.
Every single time.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like, you're just praying for no mulligans so that he didn't have to shuffle again.
I mean, if he plays at prime time, he's going to shuffle.
Yeah. Terrance is going back, which I think is the right call. I think people need to mulligan more aggressively. I think that's the most common mistake we see, is just people not getting to play Magic.
I agree.
because they're mulligan. They're they keep the hopeful hand.
Definitely.
If you're saying to yourself, if I draw blank blank blank
Right.
to make this hand good, that's a mulligan. You get a scry.
Yeah, the scry's great.
I mean, going to 6 is just almost a no brainer.
Absolutely. I would keep 5 lands in a heartbeat.
In that deck?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That hand's nothing to sneeze at.
Running it back, it was so good. It was so well received the first time that you had to run the
I
joke
have
back.
no idea how any of these jokes are received because we can't see the chat. But my boss is watching the chat, so if they're not well received, I'm sure I'll hear about it between rounds.
You heard him. Everybody tell Taylor how bad his jokes are in between rounds. Or during the rounds, just whenever.
Yeah, probably during the rounds. We don't watch the chat in between rounds. Sorry. We love you guys, but
Not that much.
not enough to skip dinner.
Down to 5 for Esper control.
Down
That's
to
not where you want
5.
to be. All of a sudden, that 5-lane hand looks amazing. Essentially on a mull to 4 because he has a Lost Legacy in his hand, which doesn't do anything. Keeping it on top, though.
Keeping it on top. Multi 4 land on top is.
Yeah, you gotta...
What do you think about Terrance playing the fast lands here instead of maybe if you have 2 basics, or
So it really depends on your deck. Like, the reason to play the fast lands is because you want lands that come into play untapped on turns 1 through 3.
right? Well, that's what I'm saying is I've seen him cast very few spells on those turns.
Right. Yeah, I think it's probably just right to play the... comes to play tap lands, but...
But they're of the wrong colors.
Right.
Yeah, he has all the lands that make red. If you notice, all his lands make red.
I do notice that. Like, that mountain produces red. You look like you're going to slap me right now. That's the feeling that I
No,
get.
that's how I feel about 90% of the time when I'm with you.
Alright, so let's see what kind of 3-drop we've got here.
See, now Brice, on a totally different shard, on a shard from a completely different plane, even.
They're shards when they're, like, on Alara. They're wedges, otherwise.
Oh, okay, so he's playing a shard, which
Right.
lets him play basics with the later comes into play tapped lands.
Sure.
Or untapped for having, he gains the bonus by having basics. I think this is a much better configuration if you're playing a go long deck.
I agree.
So I think
Alright,
there's
so
an
he is
advantage.
named Nihiri,
It's too bad he didn't name Goblin Dark Dwellers, because then
because then his opponent
Terrance
has been able to draw 2 cards.
would have gotten divination target you.
Right. Well, I mean, he discards 2 and draws 2, but it's a double loot.
The old force loot. So, I had an opponent cast one of these cards against me
Yeah.
in a standard tournament. It wasn't Lost Legacy specifically. It was a similar card
Infinite
in history.
Obliteration or older?
Older than that.
Cranial Extraction?
It may have been cranial. It might have been surgical extraction.
Okay.
Um,
That one's much better because it's instant speed. And
Right.
you can target a card in their graveyard when they're trying to do something with it.
right. Anyway, this was a fairly competitive tournament. I think it was one of the old PTQs, or it was for $1,000 or something.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Grand on the table, sure.
Anyway, this guy finds it so important that he calls a judge and asks the judge, since he's looked through my deck, can he have my deck list?
No, sir, you cannot.
No, and he says, well, can I write things down? He says, no, you can't sit there while while looking through and write things down. You can hand him his deck back and write down as much information as you remember. Was the ruling.
Did he do that?
Yes, he started writing feverishly. It was quite an interesting match. That guy was almost more preoccupied with getting every inch of benefit from his cards than he was with like playing Magic well.
That is interesting. What do you think about this choice of mountains? I like those mountains a lot.
Yeah, those are pretty.
I
Are
think
those
those mountains are fun.
Theros mountains?
They don't look like Theros mountains, but I didn't play much Theros, so they could be. Oh, we're anticipating to hit the 4th land drop. That's not a good place
Oh
to
man.
be.
Oh, well, he's got a lot of options here. See, Brice is gonna get emotionally attached to this Sorin that he's looking at. I think he's looking at land Sorin.
On the bottom,
Sorin and
another land.
land go on the bottom.
So I think we're going to see a Goblin Dark Dwellers
There we
next
go.
turn. It's going to be bad news.
Yeah, he's gonna take 3 and then he's gonna have some pressure on the board. Yeah. See, this is why he cast the spell last turn instead of waiting on it, because he's
Absolutely.
gonna cast consecutive Dark Dwellers now.
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind your curve as you're playing. No answer for the Dark Dwellers.
It's a different version of the spending all your mana every turn that we were talking about last match.
Absolutely.
So it's much less detrimental in a control deck to not spend all your land.
Negated.
Oh, I'll negate that. Wow. Yeah, so it's much less detrimental in your control deck to not spend all your mana,
He snapped that negate off too.
but it's still important as
Absolutely. I think it's more important in the control matchup to gain mana advantage. Like, you don't want to spend your, like, a 2 mana counter on a 1 mana spell. You want to get more value out of your mana than.
yeah, that's the comparison you want to make. It puts you at 1 attack from the Dark Dwellers. Oh, it's Champions of Kamigawa.
Those are beautiful.
It's really nice.
Oh, God, here's the embarrassing play of the century. Reflector Mage your Dark Dwellers. Taste it. Just like that.
Tastes like victory. Do you think that's a path to victory?
No.
I think you gotta take 2 here and draw a card to start off before you start making any decisions.
So he's got an Anguish Unmaking in hand.
Okay.
So he could go down to 1. But Terrance is playing multiple 3-mana burn spells.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this situation does not favor an Anguish Unmaking.
No. Yeah, I
He
think he's
needed
got
that-
2 in his
He
hand.
needed that Blessed Alliance to resolve
Absolutely.
real bad. It would have been a totally different game. He would have been plus 8 life.
Sure. It would be nice to be able to swing in with this Shambling Vent, but I think we're a mana off doing that. Alright, here we go.
Decided
Down to
get-
3. Got to land. So now we can Shambling Vent, swing in, deal our 2 damage to the Dark Dweller, I guess. There we go.
And then he's going to get in with the Shambling Vent.
Go up to 5.
Yeah, I think he correctly identified that as part of the plan to win the game by gaining mana through the Shambling Vent.
Absolutely. So we're up to 5.
Nice series there from Brice.
Can't play the Dark Dwellers this turn.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really have a good target for the Dark Dwellers anyway.
How do you feel about firing up a Needle Spires?
Just to trade with the Reflector Mage, not super happy with it. But if I've got 1,000,000 mana and I'm not going to do anything with it, you might as well. It's not like he can just not block it.
Right.
Plus, he needs 2 creatures to block.
Man, this is a tough spot for Terrance. He's so close. He was so close to getting him there.
I think he's still in great shape. He's 1 3-mana burn spell, or 1 3-damage burn spell away from winning, basically. Oof. I definitely wanted to do something with my mana there.
Oh, wow. He just... Brice has a Spell Queller in hand.
Oh, I'm definitely trading off for this Shambling Vents right now.
Absolutely. 110%. So Evolving Wild's going to go get an island.
It puts him out of range of Torrential Gearhulk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you really just want the Shambling Vents off the board.
It's tough.
And he's taking it. Down to 6. It's dangerous territory. It's 2 burn spells.
Oh man, he's gonna play another Shambling Vents. Man, that's very good.
Gives you redundancy. I don't think you want to cast both of them or activate both of them in one turn though.
I mean, maybe. To be able to block like a Dark Dwellers or something?
Sure.
Would be fantastic. Gosh, you see how great Standard could have been if they didn't print Smuggler's Copter? We could have really interesting matches like this all the time.
We are on literal week 1 here. I guess week 2 we're into. Give it some time.
Yeah, we got a Grand Prix this weekend. We got a Pro Tour the following weekend.
I mean, with all of these 3-mana burn spells, you got to think that Red is pretty well equipped to handle the Copter.
Yeah, I guess you have two things that kill it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For 2 mana. As like you said before, you don't want to overspend to kill something.
Right.
That's not where you want to be as a control player.
So I know Terrance has a negate in hand.
Mm-hmm.
We know he has a Goblin Dark Dwellers in hand. I don't know what else he's looking at. Two mana has got to be a burn spell here. Could not snap that off fast enough.
That's what. Yeah, Brice was just. He was hunting anything targetable with that Spell Queller.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just feel this one slipping away.
Oh, it's slipping.
Sliding away. More land for Brice.
Another Shambling Vent.
Which is fine. These man lands in Standard right now, it makes playing a control deck like this so profitable because you can hit all your land drops and never worry about flooding out.
Right.
Granted, you might be a turn behind, but, you know, everything in balance, and you play them on the appropriate turns, and you get to spend all your mana. It's just fantastic. It just doesn't even matter that he top decks Shambling Vents. It's not even like a detriment. Oh. Oh, wow.
This is aggressive. I like it.
Man, I think he sees an opening, turns the corner. Brice Sheeler turning him sideways, putting him in the red zone.
So he'll go up to 9.
Terrance just taking it. See, it even matters here that Brice has more mana. If Terrance would have had another mana that turn, he could have activated the Spires to block something
Right.
if he wanted to trade, or activate the Fumarole if he doesn't want to trade.
So I think he drew a Declaration Stone.
Mm-hmm. Once again, spending 2 mana deactivates both the lands. And Brice has nothing to do but sit there and get some big gulp action going. I think you Declaration Stone there, and then the burn spell has to target the Reflector Mage.
It keeps you alive.
To move that's targeting a Reflector Mage. Target Reflector Mage, friend. There you go. There you go.
So he's got a Negate in hand, Dark Dwellers, and one other spell.
And he's facing down this Planeswalker. So the Planeswalker goes up, plays Dark Dwellers, flashes back the burn spell to... What is this?
Oh, it's draw 3.
Oh, is this draw for each card type you have?
No, it's draw 3, and it costs 2 less if you have Delirium.
Okay. I thought
Really
that
wanna
was
hit a
Scour
legendary.
the Laboratory.
Yeah, that's what that is. He's scouring.
Holy smokes. I thought I just adjusted my context before this match, but can't see that apparently.
Another Spell Queller off the top for Brice.
There it is. Yeah, I just didn't recognize the art from that far away. So if Brice double activates again and doesn't leave Spell Queller up, this is Terrance's opening because he gets to... Okay. Brice made the right play. Terrance's opening would have been to play Dark Dwellers, burn Obnixilis, and then Obnixilis is forced to kill the Dark Dwellers.
Right. Instead, we've got Brice at 10, Terrance at 4,
And Spell Queller awaits.
Avacyn awaits as well.
Ooh-wee.
All kinds of business. So if he needed that land because he has a Torrential Gearhulk,
Mm-hmm.
then just like passing here is good.
Yeah, slamming Torrential Gearhulk on one of his Shambling Vent attacks is real nice.
Problem is he doesn't have an instant speed removal spell to kill the Shambling Vent. So if he plays the Avacyn here, you can block it with a Torrential Gearhulk, but then you're just dead to the 2 Shambling Vents.
I don't think Torrential Gearhulk flies even.
I think it does.
Gonna
Handshake.
concede there. God, yeah, that turn where Brice identified
They had to swing at a Shambling Vent.
right to get himself out of that burn range from 3 to 5
Absolutely.
was crucial. It was a nice thought process. That was a great match to watch.
It was a good one.
Get in the comments. Tell us whether you want to see less or more Copter. Now that we've had one of each.
Also, tell me how bad Taylor's jokes are.
Yes, and so you guys, you know,
Scale of 1 to 10.
you
where
asked.
10 is the funniest and one is the least funny.
You ask and we deliver.